Sia did it. Welcome back to 94 Feet, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, happy Easter to all who celebrate. Danny Stepanovich, Kate Cameron, as always. Danny, it's finally that time of the year, 82 games down, postseason basketball about to start up. We got the play-in starting Tuesday. How you feeling about all of that coming up in these next few
Ooh,
days?
I'm excited. Your son's got matched up with the Clippers, right, Kate? How you feeling about that?
Oh, I feel like it's an easy ticket to the second round if you ask me. But I mean, seeing the game today, I think the Suns lost by 5, but they had all their bench players out there. Clippers decided to put their starters out there. So I mean, the fact that the bench was able to put up 114 in a 5 point loss gives me a lot of, I guess, relief knowing that the Suns I think are in good hands from this point on as long as those starters can stay healthy. But yeah, it's going to be a good postseason. Danny, your Lakers won today. How you feeling about that?
Feeling great. We're gonna get into that later. We'll see how high up. They better be on your top 10, Kate. I'm gonna say that right now before the show starts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. I'll say I
All
got
right.
them for
No,
sure.
feeling good though. Locked in that 7 seed, and hey, Timberwolves aren't gonna have Rudy Gobert now, who I think that's kind of big, especially with the way AD's playing. So I'm feeling really confident. Because Rudy Gobert decided to punch Kyle Anderson on the bench right before. So, I'm feeling great.
Yeah, no, I get that. We'll keep it a short show today, just doing pretty much a power rankings of both the East and the West, looking at the playoffs going forward, and then of course we just got to do fit of the week. Haven't done that in a while, and then Danny, we'll have to see if you're able to kind of pull yourself back into it because I think this is the week that if I win, we might be having to figure out a punishment for you.
Sheesh. All right.
All right. Well, then let's hit the first segment. Power rankings going into the playoffs. Danny, I think we're on the same page about doing this. 8 teams from the East, 8 teams from the West, doing the power rankings from each conference. I'll say
I
this:
thought I
I
thought we
want
were
to.
doing top 10, Kate. I thought we were doing
I'm
top 10.
honestly, I'm good doing top 10 too. That works for me. If you want to
Okay.
just do top 10 total,
That's what I have
yeah, I
prepared
can
if you're
definitely
cool
do
with
that.
that.
Okay, yeah, no, we can do that. Yeah, I'll have to make a quick update, but
I,
then we'll
I can
start.
I can go first then.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's hit it. Let's hear your top 10 or
Okay.
number 10 on the top 10.
I'll throw you some teams that didn't crack the top 10. And I'll get your reaction. You let me know what's the biggest team to stand out. Teams that didn't make the cut for me in the East. I didn't put the Knicks on there yet. I know that they play hard. They play great. Since that Josh Hart trade, they've played amazing. But they didn't crack the top 10. He also didn't crack the top 10, even though they were in the Eastern Conference Finals just a year ago. But just they just cruise the regular season. I don't think they deserve it. And in the West, left out the Clippers with no Paul George. Left off the Timberwolves because who knows if they're even gonna have make the playoffs. And yeah, those are I guess the four big name teams that didn't make my top 10.
Okay, I was gonna say I disagree with some of those. I mean, actually, I think there's only one that you mentioned that I really disagree with. Outside of that, I mean, I agree with 100% with the Clippers, just because with no Paul George, again, I had already mentioned a Suns team that's currently sitting at fourth, playing their bench tonight, getting losing by 5 and holding the lead the majority of the game says a lot about where that team's sitting, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the Clippers. The one I will say that I do have on my top 10 that you disagree with is the Knicks. Don't have them high up there, but I think that's a team that's been surging over the past few weeks since the trade deadline, pretty much. And I think they're going to make some noise, especially in round one against the Clippers. It's going to be that's I think going to be one of the not the Clippers, my bad, the
Cavs,
Cavaliers. Yeah,
really,
I
I
think
think the Cavs stomp them.
really okay. I was going to say I
Yeah.
think that's going to be, in my opinion, the like one of the underlying best series of this first round. But I think again the Knicks they've been really good since the trade deadline. I think they can really make some splashes here and here going into the first round, especially against a Cavs team that I think is going to be very good. But I just think a little bit of a lack of true playoff potential there. And I mean, you can say the same thing about the Knicks as well. But I think Madison Square Garden is going to be rocking, and it's going to be just a good series in general.
All right, fair enough. You ready to start off this list?
Yeah, let's. Yeah, you hit 10 first, and then I'll follow up with you.
Okay. Coming in at 10, I know they're the 2 seed in the West, but I got the Grizzlies all the way down at 10, Kate. I don't know if that's a little too low for you, but 51 wins, solid year, but ever since those Steven Adam and Brandon Clark injuries, I just don't think that heading into playoffs, they're a top 5 team in the NBA with no Adams since January. They're using they're really. I guess one of the things that we've always been saying all year, Kate, is like they don't really have a veteran on the floor now. Steven Adams, who I know is only like 29 years old, but I feel like he's been in the league. He's been in constant playoff series with all those Thunder teams. And then Brandon Clark was just a solid defender that they could throw on wings. He could kind of play the 1 through 5 position if they were running really small ball. And now their best player off of the bench is Luke Kennard, who on the Clippers, he wasn't even cracking that rotation because he's such a liability on defense. And come playoff time, when refs are holding their whistles, Luke Kennard, he goes cold. Ja doesn't really stretch the floor in the playoffs. So I think this Grizzlies team right now is the 10th best team.
No, yeah, I mean, the Steven Adams injury is going to be massive. I mean, we've talked about just a lack of true veteran leadership on this team, and Steven Adams being really the only one to bring veteran leadership. So to have him out for the playoffs, it almost seems like it's a recipe where if one bad thing happens, it's just going to be a complete letdown for the rest of the season for this team, or at least the rest of the playoffs. So even though they are sitting at the number 2 seed, they're looking at possibly seeing the Lakers or I guess it depends. It could be a list of teams. I think it's going to be the Lakers. I think they're going to get that 7 seed. I think the Lakers can really hand it to them in the first round, in my opinion. The Lakers are just playing at that good of a pace. But I agree with you. I think the Grizzlies, again, just seeing the off-the-court issues they've had over the past few months, seeing that Steven Adams is going to be out, seeing that just in general, this team does not look as composed and put together as they have been at the very beginning of the season, even last season. So yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I think the Grizzlies are going to be my 10 as well. And cool. I just think in general, I mean, they're going to be a team that as the number 2 seed, they're going to be the weakest number 2 seed and probably one of the weakest top seeds in the playoffs going into this season. Probably one of the weakest 2 seeds in the past few seasons. I mean, last year, let me think about who the 2 seed. I think the 2 seed was the Grizzlies again, and they lost in the second round. Before that, it was the Suns. The Suns went on to go play in the NBA Finals. I mean, the 2 seeds are always going to be a team that are going to go out there and compete and play their best. I mean, obviously, all the pressure's on the 1 seed. The 2 seed is going to be the team that is kind of going to go under the radar up until the Western Conference Championship, realistically, or just any conference championship. That's not going to be the case for the Grizzlies because they're not going to make it out of the first round alive. So, yeah, I got the Grizzlies as my 10 as well.
Cool. Another nugget too. Since no Adams, no Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr., if he gets matched up with Anthony Davis, who he's shooting the most free throw attempts per game, I believe I have it pulled up somewhere since like 2015 or something like that. So AD's just been getting to the line. Jaren Jackson Jr., he leads the league in personal fouls per game. So once he gets he's definitely going to have foul trouble. And, if he gets fouled out, they got Xavier Tillman. I'm expecting a big AD series if they get matched up with the Lakers. I'm ready to move on with 9, though, Kid.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Unless you got something else. Cool. Coming at number 9, I don't know how I feel about this. I got the Warriors because I know they're a dangerous team, and I know they got Steph Curry, in my opinion, top 5 player in the league still. But just the vibe this entire season, I think it's been off. They don't seem like this same hungry Warriors team that they did last year heading into playoffs. Because, last year they had something to prove. KD wanted to leave. People were doubting, the Splash Bros. This year, I don't know. I just don't know if they have that hunger anymore. 30-22 road record, 33-8 at home. They're not going to have home court advantage since they finished the 6th seed, obviously. Wiggins hasn't played basketball hasn't played a game since mid-February. He's only played 37 games this year. He just started playing 3-on-3 and 5-on-5, and he's not even out for an injury. So, they're still the Warriors. They're still in my top 10, but I'm not as scared of this team as I was last year.
Yeah, I think, well, and that goes for, you look at their obviously road record, not great. I think a lot of people were really hoping to kind of see the Warriors on the road since, if you get home field or home court advantage against them, there's a chance that if they carry that road record in this into the postseason, it's going to be pretty much a win guaranteed for that team. Yeah, and again, it's a classic case of a championship hangover. You look at the way they played today. Their starters had a really big game against the Portland Trail Blazers, but I mean, you're talking about 157 points of offense here. How consistently are you going to be able to put up those stats throughout the entirety of a 7-game series? Jordan Poole had a fantastic game, but he's had a very slow season in general. Andrew Wiggins is probably, I mean, we might see him in the first round. I don't know if he's really going to be expected for that time, but we'll have to see. Steph, he's been good, but I think that injury, you can tell, has kind of slowed him down a little bit. Clay's been inconsistent. Draymond Green's not what he used to be. And I mean, we've even talked about the Draymond Green slander on this show before. He's just not that relevant of a player in our opinion. So I definitely see, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't even have the Warriors in my top 10. They're a great shooting team. I think they deserve to be that 6th seed, but you pair them up against a team like the Sacramento Kings. I think it's going to be a great series. The Warriors have been playing a fantastic basketball down the stretch, but you look at the offense the Kings have, the ability to just play such good basketball at home, and the best road record in the NBA, if that record still stands. And I think in general, it could either be a full 7-game series where it goes to game 7, and it's going to be overall just a really good series to watch with good shooting and whatnot, because we saw how the Warriors played in last year's postseason and how they really picked it up there and were able, I mean, granted, the teams they played, they weren't the best teams, but they still played great basketball in the postseason. Or it's going to be a 4-game sweep for the Sacramento Kings. Just offense too much for the Golden State team to match up against. And it's going to be, again, almost what I said at the beginning for the Suns, an easy ticket to the second round.
Ooh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, you really went in on the Warriors there. I'm a little bit higher than that. I still think they're dangerous. Just with Steph Curry on the floor, he's gonna give you 40 almost every other night come playoff time. But I like what you said, how the Kings best road record in the West. So they could definitely steal a game in Golden State, and who knows if the Warriors are gonna even steal a game at Sacramento. I know Sacramento is going to be jumping first playoff series since 2005, something like that. Kate, that's crazy. That city has been excited. They'd be throwing parades for regular season games. So I'm happy for Sacramento, and we're going to do our predictions next week. But I'm leaning Sacramento early lean right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm there with you. I mean, it's going to be loud if Adam's going to be in the stands for game 1 and 2. He knows the energy is going to be brought. It's going to be a good series in general. I think, I don't have them in my top 10, but I definitely see where the Warriors could be, knowing that they do have that postseason pedigree. For my number 9, you'll probably be a little bit surprised about this one. I'm just not a fan of the way they've been playing postseason teams pretty much since the All-Star break and the trade deadline. I'm going with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again,
wow.
I think between the Knicks and the Cavs, it's going to be a great postseason series, especially in the first round. Knicks have been playing good basketball since the All-Star break and since the trade deadline. I like them over the Cavs. I know Cavs have home court advantage. I don't see. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is going to be good, but we've talked about it before. Donovan Mitchell comes from Utah. Utah has not had the success in the postseason. They're always either a first or second round exit. He's going to bring that same experience over to Cleveland. Outside of that, Cleveland has no experience in the postseason other than in the play-in over the past few seasons since LeBron left the land. And I just do not like this Cavs team as much as I did at the beginning of the season. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are my current 9 in this 10-team standings.
Ooh, no playoff success outside of the guy that they went out and traded for, Donovan Mitchell. He just dropped 71 points a couple weeks ago. Donovan Mitchell, he's been to the playoffs before. He's taken the weight of a team on his shoulders. He was carrying those Utah Jazz teams who just had weird, funky lineups. Rudy Gobert was getting played out of playoff games, and this is their, he was like their second most paid player on that contract. Donovan Mitchell got a legit team now, and 9 is way too disrespectful for a team who finished with 51 wins. They would have been second in the West. So I don't know. I think 9 is way too low for Cavs, and I'm really confident that they stomp the Knicks.
See, I'm not. I think there's a big first round upset. The only place I see this that makes sense is the Knicks over the Cavs. I like the Knicks in this series. I think just in general, they match up well. I like Jalen Brunson on a guy like Donovan Mitchell. I think he's going to be a good defensive player there. We saw him last year, what he did in the Western Conference semifinals against the number 1 seed Phoenix Suns. You add Josh Hart to that team? I don't know. I just like this. I like this Knicks team.
They have
they're going to at least make it to the second round.
I like how they do have guards that they can throw at Garland and Mitchell. Quickly, he's lengthy. Josh Hart, probably one of the best perimeter defenders out there. But I think that we're getting a little bit too much into to playoff breakdowns already. But I think that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen match up great against Julius Randle's bully ball down low. So I can move on to my 8 team though, Cade, if that's cool.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, I got the Kings at 8. I think they've had a great regular season. They're definitely deserving to be on this top 10. Finishing third in the West. I think this Kings team. I was doubting them. The majority of the season. We all know they don't play any defense. I always say they've only held opponents to under like 100 points twice, and twice all year. Come on, but I think they're my favorite dark horse out the West, and they definitely could get bounced in that first round. But best offensive rating by far, 120.7. That's the most points per game scored by a team. And what really kind of changed my mind is that I think De'Aaron Fox is a superstar. Most of these fun regular season teams, Grizzlies going back with Marc Gasol. Those are some fun teams. Trying to think, just fun playoff teams that don't really have a superstar. They have a good regular season, like that Hawks team a couple years ago who finished at the 1 seed. We've seen this before. But De'Aaron Fox, just the clutchest player in the league by far. Most points per game scored in crunch time moments, like a game within 5 points decided by or with 5 minutes left in the game, decided by 5 points, something like that. But he's the clutchest player in the league, and I think he could definitely carry a team. Question marks defensively, obviously, but they can stretch the floor. They got a bunch of shooters. Davion Off-Night Mitchell, that's someone that they can throw on Steph Curry and make Curry work for his shots. So, Kings can match up well. They got some good rotations, and I think they're the 8th best team.
Yeah, I like the Kings. I have them a little higher up than that. I just think in general, again, you talk about one of the most potent offenses in the NBA right now. You got to give a lot of credit there. We've talked about it before. The NBA is an offensively driven league at this point. If you have the best offense in the league, you're going to be able to go out there and put up stats in the postseason. My concern with the Kings is just we've talked about, again, playoff experience, how that plays such a big role. This is a team with very little playoff experience under their belt. I mean, Sabonis is the only guy I can think of that's actually played in a postseason series. Outside of that,
with the Pacers and
exactly.
Harrison Barnes, he was on the Warriors years ago. So yeah, that's the other thing.
That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Outside of that, I think it's a great team with a great offense. I think they're going to be able to at least push for that second round. And I mean, we've talked to our friend, Austin Scott. Got to give him a shout out. He's obviously happy to see the Kings. I think it's the first time the Kings are playing a playoff game on NBC since 2007, or at least maybe ABC, wow. Something like that. Big time network though. So first time since 2007, they'll see themselves play on one of the major networks. But yeah, I'm not too far off with that. I'll talk about the Kings soon. For my number 8, I'm going to go with the team that's going to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New York Knicks. Again, like I said, I like this team. They played good they've been playing good basketball down the stretch. They played a consistent amount of playoff teams, and while they haven't won all of those games, they've put up good games throughout those last few months of the season. On top of that, you want to go through real quick. I want to bring up matchup breakdowns. Knicks 3-1. They got the 3-1 series win over the Cavaliers during the regular season. I mean, in the Knicks wins, they had one close one, but outside of that, they've spread it out pretty consistently. So the Knicks know how to play the Cavaliers well. I still think those are the two teams that going to go first round win. Both those teams could win in the first round, get bounced in the second easily. Seeing how well the Bucks have been playing as the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs and also in the Eastern Conference. But I do like the Knicks in the series, but not by too much. So I have the Knicks as my 8th overall team in the our little 10-team power rankings.
Yeah, I'll save this for next week, but I'm just not sold on RJ Barrett yet to hit those big shots come late game. But fair enough. I think that's way too high for my liking. Having them over the Cavs is crazy to me. But my number 7, Cade, you might be able to kick back a little bit. I got the Lakers at 7. I kind of want to put them higher, but they really just don't have too much experience playing together. But man, has this Lakers team turned this season around? This is a completely different team, literally, and like the way they play and roster construction. Started off the year as 2-10. They've won the 9 of their last 11. They're probably the hottest team in the league right now. Because these have been must-win games. All these teams they've been able to rest players. They're all chilling. Lakers have been playing, playoff mentality like games. The past couple weeks, and that's with Mo Bamba going down, D'Lo getting down. LeBron missed a couple games here. AD got hurt. One game he came back. And I think when you have AD and LeBron, two of the top 5 players in the West. Okay, tell me if this is a hot take. AD right now, best player in the West. If you have the best player in the West, you're definitely a top team. Anthony Davis has just been on a tear. He's locked into playing that 5 spot. In years past, AD, man, he's always complaining he doesn't want to play that 5 spot. He wanted JaVale or Dwight Howard to be down there. Now Ham has got him at the 5 spot, and he's shooting the most free throws per game since 2018 and shooting the least amount of threes per game since 2015. And that's when 3-point shot wasn't even in his bag. So AD, he's playing like a big man. He's getting to the line. He's not shooting threes, getting lazy over there. So AD has just been playing so well since that Russell Westbrook trade. The Lakers are the best defensive rating, have the best defensive rating in the league. And that's even with LeBron, who doesn't play a lick of defense on the court. So, I'll let you react to, I still got more to say, but I'll let you react to that AD best in the West right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think AD's playing at a level where
okay,
I was gonna say he's playing at that about to knock the Suns out of the first round level back in 2021, right before he ended up going out with the injury. I like the Lakers. I'll be honest with you. I like the Lakers. I like their playing style since the trade deadline. I think they made the moves necessary. They strayed away from their old tactics of just trying to bring in these old veterans who have experience, who have been playing well on other teams. And they actually decided to go in a route of trying to bring in these young not stars, but young players who maybe haven't been performing at the level they have been on other teams. They're looking good. They're looking a lot better. The Lakers are going to be a threat to play. And I think, you talked about it, one of the top defensive ratings since the trade deadline. The Kings have one of the top offensive ratings in the league. Seeing them in a second round matchup could be one of the best matchups of the postseason, in my opinion. 2 teams coming out of California. Overall, yeah, I like the Lakers right now. I hate to say it, but the fact that they're able to climb up as much as they did and put themselves in playoff contention, and true playoff contention, says a lot.
Something else that I really like about this Lakers squad is that they're gonna be able to defensively and offensively match up with teams in playoffs. They can go small ball with AR-15, Schroeder off the bench. But they could also, if they want some height, they got Roy Hachimura, Malik Beasley, Vando. So Darvin Ham's got some guys that can play. Wenyen Gabriel's been solid backing up AD. Now Mo Bamba's finally healthy, who we saw a little bit burst of Mo Bamba, who, he just plays hard. He gets blocks. Solid backup, I think. And the only reason why I don't have them higher is because we haven't seen Darvin Ham coach a playoff game yet. He's got a lot of pieces to work with. That it's tough because I was kind of breaking down the Sixers, and the Sixers have no depth. So Doc Rivers is probably just going to play his guys 40 minutes. But this Lakers team, they got a lot of guys that they can play, and I just haven't seen the perfect lineups yet, because Darvin Ham, Roy will pick up a DNP. The next day he'll play 25 minutes. AR-15 plays 30 minutes. He's balling out, and then he's losing minutes to Troy Brown again. So not sold on the coaching staff. That's why I have them at 7. So I am a little cautious, but if Ham proves himself, this is definitely a top 5 team. Potentially a top 5 team, like in my power rankings.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think they've been playing just at an exceptional level. I'm going to head over to my 7. You just talked about them, so I'm not going to go in too much depth about it. But I got the Sacramento Kings. I think just overall offense is going to be the storyline for this team. If they're able to make it out of the first round, again, you're going to have to kind of see what the storyline is coming out of the first round is for this team. but I think they can definitely be one of those dark horse contenders to at least make it to the Western Conference Championship game, seeing how that series between, if things go the way that they're supposed to be, the Lakers and the Grizzlies go. Again, that could be a very good second round matchup, and a lot of fun narratives can come out of that. So again, not going to go into too much depth, but yeah, I got the Kings as my 7.
Cool. I like that spot for them. Coming in at number 6, we talked about them already a little bit, but I got the Cavs all the way up at 6. I said earlier, if they were in the West, they'd be the 2 seed, probably pushing the 1 seed, honestly. Best defensive rating in the league with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down low. They match up really well against I think the Bucks and the Sixers. The 2 of the top dogs up there in the West. If they run into the Celtics, I think that they could get cooked. But and Jared Allen, he's kind of like Rudy Gobert. He doesn't really stretch the floor. I think he could also get cooked by Embiid and Giannis out in the perimeter. So that's why I don't have them higher. But I really like what they can do defensively with Mobley, Jared Allen, and then, like I said, best backcourt in the league up there with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I've seen Donovan Mitchell carry that Jazz team in the past. I trust him in the playoffs. This is a much better Utah team than he had in Utah. So I got the Cavs at 6.
Okay, yeah, they're a good team overall. I don't have them low. They're a good team. They're going to play good basketball this postseason. I just like the Knicks a little bit more. For my 6, and I'll say this right now, 6 and up for me, I think these are teams that could genuinely make a true playoff run and find themselves playing for the NBA Finals in June. I got your LA Lakers at number 6 spot. I got them a little higher than you. One thing I will say, and again, you covered all bases with them. I think they're going to be looking really good this postseason. We'll have to see how things play out. Possibly the Suns Lakers Western Conference Finals. That'd be a pretty interesting one to see. But I think with the Lakers, Darvin Ham, you talked about how he hasn't proven himself in the postseason yet. We don't know really what to expect. He started off the season very poorly, but coaching staff and whatnot has been able to really push, or not coaching staff, but the front office has been able to make the moves to make this team a very strong team. Remember, though, Frank Vogel in his first year took the Lakers to the NBA Finals. They won it in the bubble. Darvin Ham can do the exact same thing with a team that has the same key components that they had back in 2020. The Lakers made the moves they needed. Don't count them out. They have a good chance of possibly making it to at least the Western Conference Finals.
I love that. I'm so glad you're back on the Lakers, Cade. Welcome back. It took you a while.
Nah, don't welcome me back like that. I don't like that.
All right. My number 5 team, they really could be higher, but I got the Philadelphia Sixers just because, man, Joel Embiid and James Harden is such a deadly duo. They're not higher because I talked about it a little bit earlier, but they really don't have much bench depth at all. So these guys are going to be playing heavy minutes, and we've seen how many times Joel Embiid go down in the playoffs where it's some sort of back issue, ankle. He's probably going to play hurt. James Harden got hurt last year in Brooklyn, and he's just getting older. So Doc Rivers has, Doc Rivers is always getting slandered on this podcast. We've been clowning him for the past, couple years, how you can't trust him in the playoffs. But the good thing is that, what he's terrible at is lack of adjustments. And, now that he doesn't really have a bench, Niang, McDaniels, D'Anthony Melton, these guys aren't scaring me. These guys off the bench, PJ Tucker, he can't really mess up his adjustments because he doesn't really have much to work with. So that does kind of, in a weird way, play in Philadelphia's favor, I think. But, the fact that, we really don't know if Embiid's going to be able to, go on just a path. At least they got matched up early, or they got matched up with the Brooklyn Nets, which they should definitely take care of business there. But, I just haven't seen it with my own eyes yet. So Sixers at 5.
Yeah, I got Sixers pretty close. But yeah, I think you mentioned Doc Rivers. He hasn't been able to win since he was in Boston. The one thing that keeps him a little bit higher for me is the fact that they do have what I think is going to be the MVP winner this year, Joel Embiid, on their team. James Harden, I don't know how he's going to be able to play this postseason. I mean, we saw it last postseason, very inconsistent with what he was able to put out there. He's had a full season with the Sixers under his belt now. We'll have to see if he's actually going to be able to go out there and perform the same way he was able to back when, he had his little moments with the Nets, and of course back when he was in Houston with the Rockets. But I think just the fact that they have an MVP caliber player, and I think the MVP winner has them a little higher for me. For my number 5, the only reason that I have them at my number 5, in my opinion, is because of the lack of playing time that the players on this team have really been able to go into this postseason with. I got to go my Phoenix Suns. I mean, we knew that. Yeah, we knew that trade back in February was going to be. I mean, it was first off, it was a domino that really shook things up. But on top of that, we knew that was going to be the trade that really launched this team into contention in the NBA playoffs. You're talking Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. You're talking Josh Koji could have his days every once in a while. A bench that we saw today, not necessarily fantastic when they're coming off the bench, but as starters, they can at least put up something every once in a while. I mean, Jock Landale's been putting up some good points recently. It really all comes down to, first off, how healthy the starting lineup can be throughout a 4-7 game series if they do make it to the NBA Finals. And then to add to that, how productive the bench can be as well. Cam Payne's been out pretty consistently, but you've seen him put big time numbers up in the NBA playoffs when Devin Booker was out. You've seen Bismack have some pretty dominant performances. I mean, the fact that Bismack went in when DeAndre Ayton got benched in Game 7 last year against Dallas, that says a lot in itself, knowing that Monty has faith in him as a big man behind DeAndre Ayton. I think this is a team that can make it to the NBA Finals and win the NBA Finals. I just don't know. Right now, seeing where they're at with how many games they played with Kevin Durant. I think 7 total games with Kevin Durant on the floor this season since February when they've traded for him. It says a lot about where they're at. They played good basketball. They maintained that 4 seed. It's going to be a great series against the Clippers. I think it's going to be one that the Suns could very easily win, making a second round matchup with either the Nuggets, which we'll talk about later, and then maybe possibly, or maybe one of the 8 seeds that gets in there. But it's going to be a rematch. I genuinely think it's going to be a rematch. Suns Nuggets back of what it was like back in 2021 for the Western Conference semifinals. Then,
ooh, Kate, I actually gotta disagree with you on this. I think the Suns are definitely deservingly higher of a 5 spot. That's for sure. So I'll get into it later. We'll see. I'll keep you guessing as where I have them. But my number 4 team, I don't know if I'm too low on them, Cade. You tell me. I got the Denver Nuggets, who finished the season as the number 1 seed, obviously 53 games, solid regular season team. But come playoff time, Cade, I haven't seen Jokic take over a playoff series and, just dominate. I just don't trust him. I think he's going to get exposed defensively come playoff time, where he's going to have to be out running around chasing AD, who's could run laps around him. And then, if it's the Suns, the Clippers, I don't know. I just don't think that they match up well against most teams. And I'm not completely sold on this Nuggets team. This kind of feels like a Jazz 1 seed. Like, you're not that scared of the team, which is crazy to say because they have, 2-time MVP winner.
No, I think so. Yeah, exactly. I think Jokic is going to be the big difference maker here. First off, also got to shout out Austin, giving some love in the chat. Austin says it's the Suns' West to lose, in my opinion. I somewhat disagree there. We'll have to see. With the Nuggets, I think we've seen it so consistently with this team. It's always come down to how good Jokic plays. And even then, Jokic can play fantastic basketball, but the team around him always fails to really perform in the postseason, whether it's in the first round of Western Conference Finals back in 2020 in the bubble, semifinals, all that. I mean, they just continue to not show up in the postseason. Jokic can play his heart out, but in general, the Nuggets are just such a tough team to read, just because, especially this year being the first overall seed. I talked about how there's always a spotlight on the first overall seed. It's going to be just like that for the Nuggets. But how much has this team really changed since? You look at 2020, 2021, 2022, when they've consistently lost because they've been relying on Jokic so much. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. 4 isn't a terrible choice. I'm honestly surprised that. There's probably people out there who have them lower than 4, if we're being honest here.
Wow. Who you got for 4, kid?
For my 4, I got the 76ers. Again, not going to talk about them too much. All you got to know is Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, James Harden. Those 3 names, put them out there. Joel Embiid's MVP, James Harden. We'll have to see how he plays. And Doc Rivers, we all know of his postseason history. So not much to say there. They're going to be able to possibly make a run for that Eastern Conference Finals slot, but I think between the two other teams that we haven't talked about out of the Eastern Conference, there's going to be a lot of competition to go into that. Yeah, so we'll have to see how that all plays out. Let's go. Let's hit year 3 real quick. Who you got?
I got your Phoenix Suns, Cade, as the third best team. I know they've only played 8 games with KD, but they're 8-0 with him on the court. KD, just the easiest superstar. You can plug and play anywhere. He can take 20 shots a game. He could take 10. He's by far the most efficient superstar in the NBA history. He can stretch the floor. He can play the 5. He can do everything. That's why I'm not too worried about how this team hasn't played too many games together. And I know they really haven't even beat anyone. They beat Charlotte, Chicago, and Dallas. KD's first 3 games, then he gets hurt, rolls his ankle, shooting a layup, and then he comes back and they beat the Nuggets with no Jokic or Jamal. They beat the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets with no one again. So they really haven't beat anyone. That's the only concern I have. But they get matched up with the Clippers, who don't have Paul George, so I think they take care of business. Get the rotations going, get comfortable with that. But this is the first time in Chris Paul's career where he doesn't have to be. He has like no pressure really. If you just, I'm going through all his old teams. He was their closer the past couple years in Phoenix. OKC, he was the guy. In Houston, he was the closer with James Harden, and he was the face of those Clippers in New Orleans teams. But now he really doesn't have that much pressure, and I really like that, how D-Book and KD are going to be able to do work. Chris Paul just has to stay healthy. That's the real thing, and I think he does that with he doesn't have to do as much offensively anymore. Bismack Biyombo is a great backup. They have a solid bench. Okogie plays heavy minutes. We've talked about how we think Torrey Craig should be getting more minutes, which is crazy to say. But Torrey Craig, I've seen him hit shots. He can definitely not shut down Kawhi, but slow down Kawhi. He's a great defender. Shamet, he doesn't even get that minutes, but he's a solid defender. Terrence Ross, he can get you a bucket off the bench. I think that, like we talked about Bismack earlier, I think he might be the best backup center in the league. And now you got Saben Lee dropping 25 points against the Clippers earlier today. So I really like the Suns team, and I think they're the favorite out west by far.
Yeah, I think with the Suns at this point, I mean, the thing that I like about this team so far is the chemistry is there. D-Book and Kevin Durant have played together already on the Olympic team. It looks like Kevin Durant's working really well with DeAndre and Chris Paul, the entire team. You do mention that Chris Paul has that pressure that's kind of taken off him. I mean, he hit 7 threes, which was a career high just a few nights ago. So, 7 threes. Yeah, I said that all right. Just didn't sound right in my head. 7 threes.
It's late. It's all good.
Yeah,
I'm butchering words too. I'm tired.
No, we're all good. But yeah, just in general, I mean, I think this team they're looking good. I think this is going to be a nice little warm-up series for them against the Clippers. I know it's the 4-5. Clippers don't have Paul George. They struggled against the Suns team already, who are starting all their bench players. They have a bench that I think could match up pretty well against some of these Clippers teams. I like this team. I think they're going to be a really good postseason contender. And I can't disagree with having them at 3. For my 3, again, not going to talk too much about it since we already got into it a little bit. I got the Nuggets. I personally think this team could be much lower than 3. Only reason I have them up there right now is that, as we've mentioned, is that it's been the Jokic show this entire season, and yet they still found themselves as the number 1 overall seed. We'll have to see how they play with that spotlight on them, but considering that Jokic is already a 2-time MVP, Jokic is going to be playing just fine. It's just a matter of how that team around him is going to be able to play. I think having a nice little warm-up series against a team maybe like the Wolves or the Pelicans, I think that could be pretty good for the Nuggets. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for just the team to kind of figure themselves out in a 7-game series. But I think it's going to be a 7-game series that goes at least 6. I think it's going to be one that they kind of push them to the brink, but they'll figure themselves out. Just in general, I think it's a team that's been under pressure. They've shown that they can produce throughout the regular season. I know this is where it really matters, and things change up pretty consistently here in the playoffs, but I think they can at least do something here. I'm not counting them out. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I know. I like how you said, earlier, people probably have the Nuggets way lower than us, but I just think the West is kind of wide open, honestly. Any team could come out the West this year because there's really not a top dog, and Nuggets have been playing the best basketball all regular season. So I think they're definitely worthy worthy of having a top 5 spot. I like how we both have them at 3 and 4. So, they're definitely deserving of the 3 spot. I just think with KD, they got that superstar. I think I got the Suns over the Nuggets though.
Yeah, and that's I mean, it's hard to beat that. I mean, you have a team full of just true talent with the Suns. I just think it's just the bench that kind of scares me there. But I think it's safe to say 1 and 2 are probably going to be the same for both of us. But Danny, let's hear your number 2 team right now.
Yeah, we don't I was looking at I guess I didn't look at yours but last year or earlier this year we had the Bucks and Celtics as 1 and 2. I'm guessing we both have that. I got the Celtics at 2. Either one of these teams, like if you have the Celtics at 1, I'll understand. But I got the Bucks at number 1 just because I think they're a little bit better defensively than the Celtics. Just a smidge with how the way Brook Lopez has been playing. You still got Giannis down there, but I got the Celtics at 2 because hey, Jason Tatum is playing like an MVP. He's having an MVP type year, and he's kind of in the backseat behind Embiid and Jokic. So they went out and signed Malcolm Brogdon, who's just been playing great off the bench. I think this is a way better team than the team last year that made it to the NBA Finals, because they got expanded roles with Derek White, who's been balling out. I guess he could play point guard now. You still got Marcus Smart. Depoy last year. Al Horford can stretch the floor. I really like the Celtics team. I got them at 2.
Yeah, I'm same here. I got the Celtics at 2. I will say I feel like in my personal opinion, there are a few concerns, but I think those concerns have kind of been pushed to the side over the past few weeks. Celtics playing good basketball. I mean, they slipped up a little bit. They could have had the number 1 overall seed, the best record in the NBA. Weren't able to lock that down. That's just because the Bucks are playing such good basketball at this moment. Mazzulla, it's going to be interesting seeing him in his first postseason appearance as a head coach. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, Ime Udoka, who has put together such a good coaching tree so far. I mean, the Jazz didn't make the postseason, but the Jazz had a better season than a lot of fans were expecting when they had a head coach. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but their head coach came out of that same coaching tree. So I think the Boston Celtics are going to be fine in that aspect. I think as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be a very good team. We'll just have to see again how it kind of matches up with the number 1 team we both have, and that's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that's been so dominant, so powerful. Giannis in that MVP conversation, as always, just such a Jrue Holiday. I mean, again, playing Jrue Holiday basketball at this time of the year. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when a massive defensive play from Jrue Holiday is going to come out of the postseason. It's going to be a very, very fun team to watch this postseason. I can't shoot. What's his name? Their head coach.
What's his name? I know what he looks like.
Not coming to me either. Yeah, exactly.
Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah, there you go. Budenholzer. Yeah. He's had the experience. He's won a championship with this team before. There's not too much of a difference. They're just going to go out there and play really good basketball, as they always do. And they're not going to see true competition until they have to get to that Western Conference or the Eastern Conference Finals. And I mean, I think it's almost safe to say that it's going to be between the Bucks and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, a rematch of the semifinals last year. And that's going to be a good matchup when that comes around. I think those are the 2 teams out of the East that are the only 2 really teams that have contention out of the East, in my opinion. And I think the Bucks are going to have that opportunity to possibly go out there and win their second championship in 3 years.
Yeah, best record in the league. Another reason why I have them above the Celtics a little bit is because this Bucks team, man, Giannis has been playing like an MVP. They really haven't even had Chris Middleton all year. He's been coming off the bench, and they've been playing completely fine. I actually think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's pretty clear I have them a step above the Celtics because, as I'm talking it out, this team matches up so well down low. They got the wing. They don't really have too many wing players that can take over. And Chris Middleton's a wing, obviously, but he just hasn't been playing well this year, dealing with injuries. So, but they also have wing defenders that they can throw at Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the wings in the East, who else is in the East? James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, with Jay Crowder, Jrue Holiday, Middleton, Bobby Portis, Wesley Matthews. They got solid defenders, and they can also stretch the floor with Joe Ingles, Crowder. We know Crowder can stretch the floor too. Pat Connaughton even. So, even Grayson Allen, another solid bench player. I just really love this Bucks team. I think they're by far the best team in the NBA and deserving of number one on both of our lists.
Yeah, it's hard to beat this team right now. I think they're a true number one in the NBA. They're a true number one in the Eastern Conference. They've been playing the best basketball without a doubt. The only thing that's going to really be able to knock themselves down is themselves. I mean, there's not going to be really a team that can go out there and play better basketball than the Milwaukee Bucks right now. But Dan, you got anything to add to the full list of power rankings we got?
I think we both got some solid lists. Glad Lakers are up there on for you. We're gonna have to do some sort of challenge on that, or throw something on that Cavs Knicks matchup, Cade.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out.
We're both on different sides. Yeah.
No, it's going to be good. I mean, we got a list full of good NBA first round matchups. I just think that one might personally be the best in my opinion, just based off matchups and whatnot. But we'll have to see. Real quick, also, I got to throw it out there. I threw the graphic out there earlier, but shout out to let me get the name right. It's Lincoln Bernard. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. He won the 94 feet bracket challenge. Picked UConn to go all the way. He reached out. He reached out quick. He knew what was up. And Danny, I think he's going to be a fun one to have on the show. We're looking. Cool. How you feeling about next week to get him on?
Yeah, sure. Next week should be a great show to have him on. I think we haven't talked about what we're gonna do next week, but maybe just fill out our playoff brackets or something, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can do something like that. We'll give you a little background on him real quick. He was the only D2 underclassman to declare for the NBA draft back in 2020. I mean, he just moved out here to Arizona. He's gone through his ups and downs with injuries and whatnot. I obviously don't know too much about him, but if that's the case, that's a pretty cool backstory to possibly put out there on the show. If, again, that's the case. We'll have to see what he has to say about that. But we'll have to get him on next week. And with that being said, let's hit fit of the week. Danny, like I said, there's a very good chance that this might be the last week you have any opportunity to get back into it. If not, again, we'll have to figure out a punishment for you.
Okay, Cade. In a must-win week, who else am I gonna go with other than the best dressed player in the NBA? That's Shai. Got the wife beater on. Summertime is back, and it's starting to get hot. It was really hot today, Kate. I don't know if you were outside and about today in Phoenix, but I was sweating.
Yeah, hey, tomorrow's gonna be worse too. 98 tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh God, don't tell me that. So yeah,
let me check up. It might be 96, but I think
okay. Wife beaters are definitely in my my summer outfit rotation, and he's got like the 9-inch inseams, Cade. Short shorts are definitely the move in the summer, but the way Shai pulls off this fit with the Jordan 1s, the kind of baggy chino shorts, I definitely want to get my hand on a pair of shorts like this. Wife beater, jacket open. He just got that drip, keeping it simple, but it's super clean the way he puts it together. And I'm definitely going to try and recreate this outfit for sure.
Yeah, it's a good look. And the picture itself is also great. I mean, taking the picture in your dad's office, plain and simple, but
that's pretty sick.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that overall. Fantastic look. I got to pay homage to the Masters this weekend. Jon Rahm going out, winning it out there. Yeah. But I'm going somebody who I don't think we've had on the show yet, Damian Lee. Again, going with the Masters look. I mean, kind of hard to see with how much white's going on there, but got to give him some love, something a little different, of course. You don't really see anything like that often, kind of the caddy look. Almost kind of brings back the vibes of back a few years back when Russell Westbrook brought out the outfit with the official photographer vest thrown on top of that. Something a little different, a little bit more unique, but having a good time with it. Paying homage to the Masters. So as usual, head over to Twitter, Instagram, vote on that at some point this week. Danny, we'll have to figure out a punishment if this is your week that you go down. I think you'll probably.
Do you know what the record is? Do you know what the record is?
I want to say it's 9-5-1. I'm winning right now. Dang. Yeah, so it's not looking good. Exactly. Like I said, well, we might have to call it after this week. Yeah, let me do a quick check real quick. I want to say, it's 9-5-1. I'm up by 4 points. And
I think it's wraps. Right, we'll figure out something for me to do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Dan, you got anything to leave the show on today?
No, sir. I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Next show is gonna be great. Can't wait to see the Lakers in the playoff game or in the playing game. I'm not sure when that game is actually. Do you know, Kate, if they already have it?
Lakers, I think they might be going Sunday. I know, or no, my bad for the play-in. Yeah, they'll be going Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, and then obviously first round starts Saturday, going into Sunday and whatnot. So you'll
All right,
you'll
I'm
be
hyped.
you'll be watching Tuesday, and then good chance that you'll be also watching their Saturday, Sunday as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. Next show we'll probably have to be talking about that playing in the first round of the playoffs. A lot to talk about there. But until then, obviously have a fantastic week. Hope you guys had a fantastic Easter and a fantastic weekend. Make sure you head over, vote for Fit of the Week on socials at Instagram and Twitter. Of course, we'll see you next week. Have a fantastic night, guys.